Have no idea what XC is doing with that urn. It's pretty scary. But he's not playing today. He played last week. It is Sif for IG today and Lise from RNG. This will be a good one. We're getting to know Sif. I was impressed with him last time we saw him, and the first time we saw him as well, earlier in the week. Lise, you may remember from his great performance in Seoul, the tournament where Felkeen and Zim earned their money to become Grandmasters. Lise was third in that event. So the lineups, both players have got Demon Hunter, both players have got Warrior. No surprises there at all. For Lise, there's a Hunter and a Priest. And for Sif, there is a Rogue and a Galakron Warlock. The Rogue is a secret Rogue, as you can probably work out from the hand you can see right in front of us. Going straight into the Hunter. Traditionally, not the best matchup for the Rogue because it's lack of healing and Hunter's direct damage. But with these Highlander Hunters, who knows what's going to happen. What I do know is going to happen is this one is going to be pretty bloody. Look at the hands in the openers. Giant Edwin possibilities and a Zephyrin possibility for the Hunter. Be interesting to see what he takes from the Zephyrus, because this hand looks like a lovely curve and you might just be able to smack the Rogue about. Normally, or often, you would just take a Wild Growth and move into your bigger minions. But I think this might be a little more brutal than that. I don't think there's, with this curve, necessarily the time for Wild Growth. Good to see him having a think what he wants before he plays the turn. In case he doesn't want to do anything. Maybe he wants to hero power, play the Stormhammer on 3, play the Feywing on 4, and then that's a pretty good curve. And yeah, that's what he's thinking of doing. So he is giving up some tempo here, but it feels like it probably wouldn't have got there on tempo alone. And I'm going to take it the slow route. Let's have a look how that goes down. Meanwhile, Sif has similar issues to him. And by the way, if he goes for the gigantic Edwin, then it's just going to get silenced one way or another, or removed. Now that Lise has just kept back the Zephyrus. Maybe get a Shadow Word Death, who knows. But both playing a little bit cagey, which isn't the worst thing to see. Secret Rogue making a secret, of course, kind of what it does, but also kind of not what it does as well. Sounds like the worst bit of commentary ever. But yeah, you're making ambushes and stuff, but really it's still a rogue deck. The secrets are just almost a stalling mechanism, because the power of Blackjack Stunner is basically why you have to run them. The secrets themselves, I'm not massively fond of. Dirty tricks, to me, your opponent can often just not activate it. Ambush can often be dealt with, as we're going to see next turn here. And Bamboozle is just not that good. They work well together in tandem. They force you to guess, which is always nice with secrets. Hunter secrets kind of work like that as well. It's an 8-8. Now, how does Lise want to go about this? The obvious play is to play Zephyrus, get a death, and just Shadow Word Death it. Does have the option to freeze it up for a turn. Find out what the secret is. And with all these 4-drops, I guess there's the option. I was going to say there's the option to take 8. There really isn't that option. It's not ideal. It really isn't ideal. He's not going to gain a huge amount of board by just playing Shadow Word Death here. And everything else just looks worse though. Unless you're freezing the Edwin, but that's... 3 mana isn't the problem, it's all these 4 mana cards that are the issue you're having. Very important to note that he's using the Stormhammer very well here. Sometimes it's tempting to use the first swing, just pile it into your opponent's face. But he's chosen not to attack last turn, and that's important because it has allowed him to attack this turn and maintain a hammer ready for when the dragons start to appear next turn. Because the 3 damage, not how he's seeing his route to victory. So after a pretty explosive start on both sides, things are starting to settle to normality a bit now. Another decision here. Do you want to, because of your curve, do you want to just weave in hero powers? But playing the Fey Wing and just hitting face just seems so nice. It's kind of what the deck's meant to be doing. But yeah, you're getting 3 damage instead of weaving in a 2, so why wouldn't you? Going to be interesting to see next turn. Because there's a potential for a whole lot of damage to start happening. Dragonbane, which obviously isn't a dragon itself, it's actually a mech, which I didn't realise. But Dragonbane, the chance to just do a whole chunk of damage. Like, the Prime of the Shadow Weaver also. Sorry, it's not a prime. I never know what they're called when they're not primes. Zigzor Apex Predator. There you go. Yeah, Zigzor Shadow Weaver just freeze the opponent's face, kill the minion, and get a lot of board presence. Just seems so good. Not that freezing rogue faces really does much in this day and age. Rogues hardly ever use their hero power. Like, the caster line used to be that the rogue hero power is the best in the game because you get 2 uses for it for the price of 1. And we'll forget Demon Hunter for a minute because that's a totally different debate. But it turns out in modern Hearthstone that's kind of slow. You might get 1 dagger up during the game, maybe 2. But in general, you just don't. You're just too busy making amazing plays with lackeys in particular. You fill in gaps in your curve with lackeys, etc. So you really don't get time to dagger very much. So this is grim. The problem being that if you flick away anything, you know that Zigzor Prime is coming in your future. And that's when you want flick for, and you'd like to be able to shadow step it and set it up for later. Ouch! Dinosaur to the face, which seems to set up the 4-drops nicely. Always tempting to just play Dragon's Bane, hero power, to see what it hits. But a dinosaur to the face is so hard to deal with right now. Lise will be trying to get the read on whether... Well, he knows that almost certainly not a shadow step. He'll be trying to make sure that that read is correct. Because then he can afford to ignore the 4-4, if that would be the case. But yeah, he can't afford to ignore it, he feels. And doesn't need to ignore it either. So much damage coming in here. And Sif just looking for anything that works. Does manage to stun away the King Crush. Which is it done for the game. I was waiting to see what the cost of the Crush was going to be. But yeah, this is still pre-nerf. This is just unplayable Crush. But is the damage done? See so much damage for next turn in little bits. Lise will be worried. One of the things that's worrying for him is the 5 health that Galacon would give, the 5 armor. Otherwise he'd probably be able to just win this by pointing face with everything. You know, the Hounds, Bran, hero power. It's another 7 damage. And it would just about get him over the finishing line. And I'm just going to ignore that pickup and continue that thought. And that would have made it quite difficult to know what to do. However, now he's picked up Zigzor Prime. What he does here is he plays Zigzor Prime and Sif's face will just drop. Yeah. And what are you supposed to do about this? Your flick is gone, and your opponent just picks up the Prime almost instantly. Bamboozle didn't come to the rescue, and was not likely to come to the rescue. Good ordering from Lys. And very considered play. A lot of his turns were not that hard. But the one really key decision he made this game was turn 2, where he had a Zephyrus curve, and it was a good Zephyrus curve. He'd have gone to Animal Companion, into Dragonbane for instance, Feywing too. So everything was screaming, you know, curve out, kill your opponent. But he played it a little bit slower, and tidily got it done. And the presence of that Stormhammer, meaning that the Animal Companion wouldn't have been so good. So really nicely played there from Lys to take this 1-0 lead. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of both these players at the moment. It's warrior time. I guess... So let's not mess around here. Warrior is the best deck in Hearthstone. That's it. It has possibly no unfavourables. Maybe Priest, probably Priest with this build, which is not the greenskin build. I don't believe. Let me just triple check, but checking warrior builds is a thing I always do too late. Yeah, it's just double Corcoran, 1 Grom, and all the normal goodies that go with it. A couple of Tolvirs in here. No eggs. So this is one of the less good matchups for warrior, because sometimes the hunter just beats you with big things. The warrior can deal with little things. It can kill you if you're messing around playing big things. It doesn't like getting its stuff removed, and it doesn't like big wide boards of big things. So Alex Strazer's not fun, for instance. Early pressure sometimes not fun either. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Lys coin out one of these 3-drops. Warrior likes to play its weapon on turn 3, so freezing face just seems good to me. You can't fault him if he goes for Animal Companion, I don't think. 2 of the companions don't die to the weapons, and Huffer, of course, would do 8 damage. But I'd be looking to freeze face here. Okay. Like I say, this is a perfectly valid opinion. And Leok's actually the reason why I'd like to order it the other way around. I don't feel that Misha and Huffer change much whether you get it on turn 3 or turn 2. But Leok would have buffed the already existing minion, whereas now that's going to take time to happen. Does also, in fairness, at least gives himself access to the Apex Predator. Yeah, look at my memory go for an old man. And the Apex Predator, obviously, with Leok, is a big deal depending on what was played. If it's a Tolvir, for instance. But Sif choosing to kill this over 2 turns, and so Lys's holding back is actually going to work out nicely. Sif also not picking up the risky skipper, which is a big, big deal. And nothing to do. Just nothing to do. Right, Warrior can lose these ones. No skipper, getting behind in the damage. Just nothing going on. Okay, well, I mean, that's some board. Do you want to play the Tolvir? I feel like you want to play the Tolvir next turn with the Mercenaries to try and fight back for the board, but that's really slow. So it might just be the Parachute Brigand, I want to say here. Have a look what that is. Leave you all to your own devices for a moment. If you hear clicking, that's me having a look what that minion is. And it's me doing it very slowly, apparently. Very slowly. It is Parachute Brigand. Why am I even doubting myself, huh? We all knew what it was. Anyway, back to the action. This damage is coming in thick and fast. And there's plenty more where that came from with the Rotnest Drake in hand. Semblance of a plan forms here for Sif. But he's got to clear this lot up. If he attacks with the Anchor, he's got a 2 in 3 chance of picking up the Skipper. And the semblance of the plan is the old Corconolly in a Rage and the Mercenaries. It's a long way off though. Could just play the Brute, take out the Apex Predator with his face. Yeah, this makes sense. And he's actually just not going to mess around, he's going to clear everything up. Switch the board back in his favour, because that was getting out of hand. Nice use of the Inner Rage there. And this is going to be a nice use of a Rotnest Drake. Again, at least does have options. Can play the Griffin to get rid of the 6/4. Weave in a hero power. Doesn't seem ideal, but it's a possibility. Could also just play the Scavenger's Ingenuity along with the Griffin. He wouldn't have any board, but he'd soon pick up a big time Zigzor Prime. So not as straightforward as it looks. And I do like that Lys, even though most times he plays a straightforward play after thinking for so long, does try and envisage how the game's going to work out from here on in. And successfully so too. Sif has all the pieces come together now, but he doesn't have much time, and they're not like coherent pieces. There's a bit of everything going on, and that's not really what you want in any Hearthstone deck. And he's just hanging in there, he's just trying to stay alive. The coherence at the moment is don't die and hope it all goes away. Down to 4 cards as well. It's kind of Lys's job to stop those cards with the injured minions ever being allowed to get a Battle Rage off. Don't know what assumptions he can make about his opponent's hand. He can probably guess there's a Grom there. The other cards, pretty hard to work out. And he'll take this opportunity to get his Prime. Looking for all the world like he's going to go to 2-0 here. But this is a play. Suddenly he's got 2 8-7 Parachute Brigands, as I always knew they were. And he's threatening lethal. From absolutely out of nowhere. And that's the play he set up last turn. Lys could have dealt with them. I'm not saying kind of it's his duty to get rid of them. I was thinking in terms of Battle Rage, but also this was always an option. The injured minions just help you so many ways. And he did have the option last turn to just Griffin it down and hit the other one with a hammer. It would have basically passed his turn. But it's something he could have gone for, because do you really mind passing your turn with the rest of the hand he had? Going towards Alex Straza on 9? But to be fair, he probably... It was hard to see this coming, but... Yeah, it's so hard when you've got caster vision to understand... Would he have missed it? Would I have missed it? Would I have seen it? But there was this suspicious, weird, risky skipper turn. And I think maybe Liz should have seen this coming. Obviously, the pickup of the second rampage was helpful to Sif, but... Just wins the game! Nicely set up from Sif, nicely worked out. And I think Lisa's having the same conversation with himself that I'm having with myself, which is, could I realistically have been expected to stop that, given the weird play that Sif made the turn before? And did I need to be so greedy getting the prime? Probably. It is the top level of Hearthstone, so probably can class that as a mistake. But also, you're setting up to get a lethal spread of minions the turn after you've got one turn to survive. Is it something you should consider playing around, or do you just set up that lethal, or basically lethal, game-winning prime? It's a tough one. Got to put it out of his head. I've got to put it out of mine. Got more Hearthstone coming up. It is last hero standing, and this is, I suspect, especially this second week, looking at the lineups, but probably for some time to come, Priest versus Warrior, I suspect, is the defining matchup of this format. Of last hero standing in particular, that is. It doesn't matter so much in Conquest, because Warrior just gets a win somewhere else. But if Priest loses to Warrior when you've left it up in last hero, you are going to have so much of a bad time. Plus, people love to argue over what's favoured. I think Priest is just favoured until you put Greenskin in the Warrior deck. Already the Warrior with plenty of choices. Personal preference, get that anchor swinging, get the pirates in your hand, stop the ability to draw the pirates, because you don't really want to draw them. What you want to do is draw a battle rage. And just swing away and thin the deck and get the cards you need. The weird thing about this matchup is the Warrior has so many things to do. It has to constantly be threatening to do reasonable amounts of damage. And it must constantly be removing basically everything the Priest plays, because if Apotheosis comes down, the Priest heals all the way back up. So at the start, it doesn't matter too much about clearing everything. But when you get to turns 5 and 6, and you've done 10 damage, 12 damage, nothing must be left up, or Apotheosis will just ruin your day. Plenty of other concerns and considerations to worry about as the game goes by as well. But the challengers are very good. The 110s. These are constantly a source of threat for Inner Age and Mercenaries to make a wall of 3-9 or 6-12 or whatever it is minions. Just huge, difficult to deal with things. And when you're sat the other side, a Priest, it always feels like they're just going to kill everything off. But the reality is actually that once you've sucked out 2 or 3 removal spells, that they do run dry, and then eventually something will stick to the board. It just never feels like that's what's happening. It is important to get rid of those Veil Weavers, Sethek Veil Weavers. But as soon as they're out of the way, the Priest can run out of stuff. Interested to see if he puts this into the 110 here. I assume he will. Yeah, it's a weird situation, right? I've just chastised him for not killing injured minions, and now here he is injuring a minion. But the difference is, this one can get out of control. You've got to deal damage to it whilst you can still do something about it. Because if the play next turn was to buff this right up, just not nice things happen. It just gets too big. That being said, if you had a rampage and it's a 4/9 just hits you in the face, yeah, that's pretty good too. I think we'll see the buff here. Any reason not to play the lackey? And this is where things get difficult. Do you want to play for the now or do you want to play for the future? I like it. You've got the option to copy it next turn available. You might as well make it a little bit bigger. Put it back in your hand, at least, and slow down. You play better when you're slowing down. It's an obvious play, though. Definitely not going to pick on that one. Yeah, and Sif now has to dig deep into how he wants to do this. The play that instantly stands out to me is to put the lackey into the Shield of Galakrond, then play yourself another brute, trade that in, and you've got two things going on for your opponent to worry about. Bit different now. Maybe you can play your challenger into a 3/6 and copy it. When you copy these, though, you are taking away your critical kill at the end. The combo at the end can do huge amounts of damage, 18 regularly, and is a big deal. So how you spend your mercenaries will define your results with warrior against priest. But getting a massive board like he's doing here before Soul Mirror can be played is definitely a strategy I can get behind. Talking of Soul Mirror, there it is. All these minions being different shapes and sizes is beneficial to Sif. Means that no one card can take care of the whole lot. At least not one that at least has. Malygos Flamestrike might. So he's going to go hunting with Renew for something different. The thing that's going to really sort him out here. Let's go for the second penance. Well, that's a pretty good turn because of the way that the healing works. So resources are really important as the warrior, as well as the tempo. So just getting back his weapon seems to be the right play to me. And then, I don't know, throw out a Corsair cast just to thin your deck of more gubbins. Every decision's so crucial when you're playing this matchup. I want the 4-2. I hate 4-2s. I think they're rubbish normally, but against Priest they're pretty good. It's not quiet like it used to be for Priest with the whole, oh yeah, 4 attack minions can't be dealt with. You have Time Rip now, obviously a 4-2. There's Breath of the Infinite also deals with it, but it's still not their favoured number to deal with, a 4 attack minion. This way, however, just gives them absolutely no soul mirror at all. I don't think you'd have soul mirrored the other one though. Still on 22. They're both on 22. But the warrior has managed to maintain the momentum on the board. and maintain a good handful of threatening minions. I nearly said threatening threats there. That would have been pretty silly of me, so I won't say that. And you'll never know otherwise. Sif actually spoilt for choice here. So how does Lise go about it? What can he Moras on next turn is one of the starting places for this. And how can he highlight the chance of getting it back? But he is taking 7 next turn if he doesn't clear things up. And this is not a fun looking turn. This is... Obviously fetching Galakron's important, but it's only a level 1 Galakron. It'll only kill 1 minion. Obviously getting rid of the hero power can be a mixed bag, but you've got to do it at some point, otherwise the warrior will just kill you. You need those minions, even though you need the healing. Your spells do the healing for you. Sif. Just like I was saying last turn, because I was looking at his hand more than I was looking at Lisa's. Very spoiled for choice here. And something else that can happen with this deck, and Sif has avoided it here, is if you're not careful, you actually get in a position where you can't dump your hand. You don't have ridiculous amounts of generation in your hand, but you have more than maybe is obvious, and sometimes you end up with this hand of some cards you're saving to combo kill, and some cards you want to dump and you can't because they just make more cards. So he's just avoiding that at source and setting up another board to be dealt with. And these are starting to represent lethal now. Yeah, with a corker on this one now represents lethal damage. Obviously Lise has answers, that's not the problem. The problem is he doesn't have many answers. So having to manage this stuff so that the right answers get played at the right time is the issue here. Looks like a good spot for 2 penances to me. Deal with 2 pretty chunky minions at the same time as... Just checking where that level... It does go to level 2, yeah. Oh, but look at how this worked out. Picking up the Fate Weaver has now allowed him to have an amazing turn. That's a game-swinging turn. So, the unseen thing here, I've said it already, but Sif has to worry about Apotheosis. If this Veil Weaver gets Apotheosis and hits anything, you're not killing Lise today. So much as it's nice to say, well, just ignore it and go face, you cannot. You will lose if they have Apotheosis, and it's a card they're very likely to have. The combo, on the other hand, is building up. 15 points of damage would be available should Grom be picked up. That's where this gets really awkward. He's going to bomb things. You rely on a little bit of luck when you do this, but not a huge amount. And this board, another board that Lise has to deal with. Neither of them now can allow a board to hang around for more than one turn. Sif choosing to make another bomb right now. That's a big investment for that bomb. Interesting to me. I mean, they represent 2.5 damage each, and that's if they don't connect face for their 1, so... that is more damage, and I guess he has turned the Wrangler into a non-stealable minion, which is very important. So Lys can't make his own bombs to like steal the Wrangler, trade into a bomb, gets another bomb. Suddenly he's got a whole load of value. So yeah, that might be quite nice from Sif. Let's see how it works out, but it looks like it's going to work out well. Oh, and Lys does not like this at all. He's going to have to use his Soul Mirror, or he thinks he's going to have to use his Soul Mirror here. And this is just not going to be great. But he does, because of it, finally stick an Apotheosis. Oh! Maybe. That bomb did some chunky damage, though. Oh, yeah, Sif readjusting his chair. He knows what's coming here. I think that's a second skipper. If it's not, then everything I'm going to say now won't make sense. But I'm not overly 100% used to the golden cards yet. But I think that is a skipper. If it is second skipper, bombs everywhere trying to kill his 3/5 to prevent the health gain. Could be huge. There's also the option to just rampage up, take it out in one hit. This is why he's doing nothing. He wants to put the bomb into the bomb. But he needs to know first what he's doing with his other stuff. Change of heart.
Oh, it's good to see you.
Yeah, that is the skipper.
Pull up a chair by the hearth.
Back up to 30. Interesting ordering there. Choosing to try and get the bomb to deliver face damage. There was the choice to put the bomb into the other bomb and see if you could bomb the Apotheosis minion, but this is okay. For the first time in ages, Lys has just got a turn off. Turn where he can develop without really panicking too hard. And yeah, gaining some health from the hero power and some more health from the armour. And Lys is now in a really strong position. Even though Warrior still has more and more waves to come, at some point here Lys will hit a couple of good minions and that will just be the end of the game. Well, Alexstrasza changes things a bit. Having just said all that, doing 13 damage with one minion can change things a lot, especially when you put an 8/8 into play. That 1 mana death means it's not as exciting as he... Well, I was going to say as he thinks it is. I think he knows that this isn't that great. But if your opponent hasn't got it, then you're in a great spot. But they've got it here a lot of the time. He's drawn 14 cards, and that death's been in hand a long time. Still, Sethek Veilweaver into death. Oh, double Veilweaver now. Get yourself some more spells, and off you go. Priest usually has the issue of having too many cards in hand, so sometimes you don't play the double Veilweaver. I think in this spot, where if you survive 2 or 3 more turns, you just win the game, because you'll have weight of numbers on your side. I think it's fine. Another Soul Mirror generated. You absolutely go for 2 more cards here. Just wondering whether to tap first. Might find a better minion to put it on. Does not. Doesn't go for the 2 more cards. Am I misunderstanding what the card is? What's going on? I was under the impression it was Circle of Healing, and it is. Oh, so he wouldn't get the cards. I'm being silly. I was thinking, yeah, I was thinking Power Word Shield actually. Now I look. Yeah, sure. We're there. Who knows what I was thinking, but Circle of Healing doesn't target minions, that's why he didn't do it. And it might actually come in handy too, in some weird fringe scenarios. Well, he's held on to his Morazon for some time. But now he's going to get to Apotheosis up a Brute. Yeah, and Sif's face says it all. I think that's what his face says. Gotta go through it all one more time. And he's only got 5 cards left in his entire deck. He's used a lot of the key cards he might need to win the game. And now, as if that lot wasn't bad enough, he is facing down lethal damage from Lys. And really now, Sif can do a big armor gaining turn, but that just doesn't do anything. And it would be a big armor gaining turn if he went for it as well. Look, he can make enough armor that he might end up going quite deep into fatigue before he dies. I don't think it's actually going to achieve anything. It does draw the rest of his deck, however. Maybe this will achieve something. No, he has an 18-point combo available to him, but he can see that he's never getting through. Gives it up. And Lys takes the lead 2-1. Has his priest left against the Galakon, the Warlock, I believe. Yep, there we go. Always nice to say something correctly. Okay, could be a lengthy one. Both teams looking to get to 3-1. It's a big deal for RNG as well. They went 2-0 last week. Obviously lost their first match this week. So it would be a bit sad to sink to 2-2 after winning the first week. But both these two teams are going to be sitting pretty whatever the result. And obviously the winners will be on the same number of wins as VK. But VK still have a game to play. Sif making a note there. Shadow Madness obviously one of the cards that's super crucial to remember that it's gone. At some point, of course, it just turns into a mess and everything in the priest's hand was created at some point or other. At that point, you just try to remember spells and minions, and that's all you've got to go on. But not yet. At least he's just got to do that thing that priests sometimes do here, and curve out. And when it goes like this, it can just be over. Like, no matter what they're playing against. This isn't a matchup specific comment. This is just sometimes this wins. Like the Fate Weaver, the Breath, the Galakon and Kronk's combo, the Time Rip, everything in the hand, the Mind Flayer, everything in the hand is just working lovely together. And this really might just be really super quick. And Sif senses it. Like, that's a really unusual sack pack there. And he smelt a rat. He's got a feeling this is going to go badly, I think. And so, maintaining his health while he can, rather than keeping the option to do this later. It did cost him 1 health. He only gained the 4, I believe, there, so... Definitely good instincts. For many, many reasons there, yeah. Every reason to leave up extra minions. So that's pretty cool. And I'm actually... flabbergasted is definitely pushing it way too far, but quite surprised by that. Plague of Flames in hand. Bird Worshipper. Super card. And this will explain the sack pact a lot better than my previous explanation. He was making space because he needed to get to this plane. And if he did get breath, which he did, he would have had no targets available for the sack pact. So he wanted the maximum out of the Veiled Worshipper.
Oh, legendary!
And now does he Plague of Flames or not? He's just going to make some space. Whew, my goodness. Both players here are needing to know who the aggro is. And I'm sure right now it's Lise. She's got such a beautiful curve in hand. Sif just has a standard Hearthstone hand. But Courage, Lazul, this just seems like a great turn. Leading into a Galakond. Take the Shadow Weaver and just hit him. I'm getting excitable here because this might just be a massacre. Now this isn't because I have a preference for the play. In fact, I like watching both of these two players. Sif we don't know much about, but Lise we do, and Sif has just seemed a good Hearthstone player so far. But to watch a priest just curve out and massacre somebody is something you don't see. Well, you probably see every day if you play a lot of Hearthstone, but you don't see in tournaments every day. It's a once in a while hand. This Mind Flayer is actually super hard to deal with right now as well. So yeah, way to deal with it. Stop it from moving. That should work. Might be a good time for the Netherwing. He wants to get this Fate Weaver down, so play the Netherwing now so that he can do that. Seems like a good plan. Doesn't mind blowing up his Mind Flayer. Obviously you want to keep it as long as possible really, but turning it into a 5/4, it's not the worst result. And if you're going to do that, you might as well play Thought Steal first. I mean, you can still mode from your Galakond, but it's only going to kill one thing. So the Thought Steal seems to imply he's looking... Oh, I wonder if this will change his mind now. He was looking at the Netherwing, now he's picked up the Shield of Galakond. If he's thinking of playing his own Galakond next turn, he may just want to play this down. A case where ordering actually changed somebody's mind. So nicely worked out. He worked out what he wanted to do, worked out he wanted a Netherwing, worked out that means he could Thought Steal, does the Thought Steal, gets the Shield of Galakond and realises, hey, I can make my actual Galakond level 2. That's a big deal. This is a decent minion that doesn't really need me to worry about the Netherwing as well. Changes the play, and the ordering has allowed him to make a better play. Sif down to 12 cards in deck, been very aggressive. And that'll be a big deal if you can get Zephyrus active. Oh, Fate Weaver's so good when it's good. But although it's so good, at least just, again, taking one of those pauses that he takes. Calculating what he wants to do in advance, which makes a lot of sense to me. Time rip. So everything being golden, actually it's not so bad today, but sometimes all the cards being golden and in Chinese and without their normal casting cost is definitely going to lead to disaster at some point, although I currently have a grip on the situation. So, fairly unimpressive turn there from Lys, but he knows that he's managed to set up his future hand, and he's not going to take much damage because Sif has to deal with all this. Looks like we are going to see a Plague of Flames. Yeah, nothing says Plague of Flames more than one to the face. Oh, he's actually going to go for the Dark Skies, okay. Okay, so resource heavy turn there. Presumably trying to not Plague of Flames away Galakond, a shield of Galakond, so he can get some sort of Alexstrasza turn off. And this way also ends up with a big minion in play. So Alexstrasza you, hit you for 5, puts your opponent down to 10, then Zephyrus into something, you can win the game that way. Sif definitely on the ball with this one. It's going to be hard for him though. Lys, you would think, is going to Galakon this turn. Seems to have hovered over Lazul, the Mummy, and the Galakon there very quickly. I mean, get yourself another Galakon. It might come in handy just for the armour alone. You don't really need the resources, but you also may end up with the ability to get 2 weapons. The Galakon you steal is... This one is a level 3 because it's level 3 in your opponent's deck. You steal the entire Galakond, invocations and everything. But despite the fact that Sif seems to have played this pretty well, he's got nowhere. Like the priest, right from turn 2 or 3, looked like he was going to curve crazily. And the Warlock doesn't have the resource to deal with big fat minions attacking you every turn when curved out like this. I'm looking for all the world like RNG are going to take a 3-1 win to go to a record of 3-1. And that'll be their second week finished. Still 7 more weeks, plus the Battlegrounds tournament. I'll explain how those work once I get more information on the Battlegrounds, how it filters into this. For now, I'm just going to be giving the records of the players in this tournament. And that is going to be the game. There's no healing. No taunt available. Kronks is available. So is the 5-1 weapon. Lys swings in. He's going to do it with a Netherwing, actually. And that is a great victory for him, as you can see from his amazing reaction there. 3-1! Plenty more Hearthstone still to come today.